Manny?
Yes.
He's not connected
Oh,
at
there's
all.
Judith.
Shabbat shalom.
Joan, you're
Shabbat-
having a problem,
Shabbat shalom,
Joan.
everybody. Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Hi, everyone.
Mindy, nice to see you.
Hmm?
I don't know.
Who didn't know?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm always good. Excellent. Nice to see you.
You too. You too.
Yes, it's always good to see people. That's the best part of this.
Okay.
Joan, May, you're all working. You're in working order.
Hi,
Sonny.
Joan.
Hi.
Hi, Lily.
Give her a call.
And I did go to work yesterday.
You got it, huh?
Oh,
Hey, Rick, good to see you.
Likewise.
of course, likewise, Rick. There you go. The sanctuary, everybody looks.
Over here, then. He's still playing with it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Ezra.
go ahead and mute everyone.
That's a memorial kind of picture, right?
All right, friends. So as we can see, we are in the sanctuary today, and we're going to be, the best one is the Temple Sholem one, because I'm going to stop my video here.
I want him to do whatever he wants. Is that cool? We'll find him in a minute, okay?
Maimonides would describe how people should celebrate Shabbat. And he would instruct people that on Shabbat they should put out the best of everything they have. Their best food, chicken, vegetarian chicken, wine, challah, make a beautiful feast. But he also said that if you aren't able to make a beautiful feast on Shabbat, the thing that you can do, if you can't do anything else, is you can take your jacket and you can turn it inside out and you can wear your jacket inside out. And even the act of doing one thing slightly differently can help us celebrate Shabbat. So I wanted to invite ourselves to take the time this Shabbat to turn ourselves a little bit inside out, like Maimonides says. We can completely reimagine everything that we think is important. We can celebrate rest. We can applaud stopping. We can feel a huge amount of accomplishment when we accomplish absolutely nothing. This Shabbat, let's turn ourselves a little bit inside out and find completeness in our time of rest. We're going to invite the Axelrod family, Rachel, Gary, and AJ, to celebrate up with Nate, who is having his bar mitzvah tomorrow, and they are going to be leading us in the candle blessing.
How do I pin them?
Okay. Oh, thank you. We were trying to do sign language. Can you?
Yay! I'm
Hey,
so glad
guys.
to see you guys.
Just so you know, everyone in the chat is saying how poor the sound quality is. I'm so sorry, but there's been some major technical difficulties. No one could hear at the beginning, and now the sound is not great. Sorry.
You're probably going to be the better sound than us.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Oh, can you guys hear us? Okay, great. All right.
Yes, I can.
Woo! All right. Let's go. All right. This is Nathan, who's the bar mitzvah for tomorrow.
Hi, Nate.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Okay. Let me just make sure you guys can see them.
Yep, we can see them. Perfect.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat
Axelrods, you better get rest. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Nate, you're going to be wonderful.
Mwah.
Shabbat shalom, Axelrod. Mwah.
Love you guys. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, mazel tov, Nate. We are turning to page 123 for the Kiddush, our blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikroi kodesh זכר לציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
We are going to take time now to think about all the ways we want to bring joy into this upcoming Shabbat. When we pray Lecha Dodi, we do so with energy, with excitement. We imagine ourselves going out into the streets. What if everybody in all the members of Temple Shalom left their houses, went out into the streets, and sang outside to greet the Shabbat bride? That would be a really exciting and fun thing to do. So we're not going to do that right now because I think it's a little cold. But we are going to just think about all of the ways that we can bring that energy and that spirit and that joy into Lecha Dodi. So we are turning to page 138 for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat hala, leshabat me'avela. Lecha Dodi likrat hala, leshabat me'avela. Lecha Dodi, lecha likrat hala, leshabat me'avela. Lecha likrat hala. Shahod Zahod Bor Echad Yishiyar Echad Adonai Echad Bor Echad L'Shem Tiberat Le'ad Dodi Le'ad L'Israel L'Neshabat Kamela Le'ad L'Israel Shabbat Kamela, Yitrat Hamad Lechuvenelcha, Ki Himor, Nacha, Yoshi Kezen Nesuha, Somat V'Nacha Shabbat Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Tana, V'nei Shabbat Kamela, Lecha Shabbat Kamela, Yitoreri, Yitoreri, Kiva Ore, Uri, Uri, Shaderi, Kivod Anaya,
Continue on page 142 with the most incredibly rousing and exciting shalom lesson that you've ever heard.
we turn to page 146 for those words of the Baruch Hu saying, yes, we are here, we are together, and we are ready to pray. We rise if we are able. Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Et Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Leolam, Page 150. Avat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ata, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta. Okay, Adonai Eloheinu, b'shofreinu ufumenu, nasiach b'chukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, orach yameinu, u'vahem neder, yomam v'layla, ki hem chayenu, ve'orach yameinu, u'vahem neder, yomam v'layla, ki hem chayenu, ve'orach yameinu, u'vahem neder, yomam v'layla, yamachach asir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Hear, O Israel, hear, O Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad, Shem kivon malchuto le'olam. We may be seated. Yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele
אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיינת לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושיתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
The top of page 157, we read together, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Those thoughts that swirl around each and every night. What's tomorrow going to bring? What was today? What did I do well today? What could I have done better today? How's tomorrow going to go? These thoughts that swirl around before we fall asleep, before we find that place of rest, before we find that shelter of quiet and of peace. Now imagine doing that in a tent, in a desert, surrounded by nothing but the sounds of the world. We ask God to give us a place of rest, a place of quiet solitude each and every night.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu, Lechanim, Lechanim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu
bring that peace and quiet into our words of the Amidah as we take those steps into God's presence and into God's love. On page 164, we rise for the Amidah.
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel, Chasadim Tovim, Yekonei Hakol, Zoher, Chasdei Avot, V'imavot, Nevi Gula mipnei bneihem, Levan Shemo Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham, Yezrat Tzara, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Hoshia, Mashir HaRuach, Mori HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol V'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'nemanat HaChayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelu Chaselah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
This time of silent prayer gives us a time to behold what we have. On page 177, when we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you have set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'el hodot. We take a moment for those times of lehodot, of that praise and that thanks, each of us in our own way.
Shalom, shalom, nimrocha, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Misha Berach, Avotenu, V'imotenu. Please, God, bless us. We are in need of blessing in these moments. These moments when we see another rise. We just felt a coming down of the charts and then it goes back up. Adonai, when will we feel at peace in our world? When will we feel like what is time to worry about is me? We want the time to focus on ourselves, to focus on our family. And that's where Misha Berach is. Both taking that world view and looking deep down inside for those who we know and those who we love who are in need of that blessing of healing. If you are thinking about anyone who is in need of healing, on this Shabbat, instead of unmuting, I'm going to ask, actually, we can actually allow you to unmute. If you are in our room, you can unmute and share any names that you are thinking of, or you can put them in the chat.
Okay.
Rose Sakas Loomis.
Judy
Kathy
Sherwin.
Dorsey, Wally Winston,
Wendy
Rubenko
Charnas.
Tarasevsky,
Wendy Charnas. Carlos Tabares.
You tell Judy we said the Shabbat.
Rebecca Luker,
Liviana Bree Salter.
Rohit,
We add
Say Stevie.
to those Ben Shalek, Don Sable, Jim Clemens, Gary Schroeder, Judy Miller, Robert Peppers, Rika Berg, Soretta Reed, Tanaya Reed, Antonio Santos, Etta Sue Center, Connie Metters, Paul Quinn, Gigi Green, Jan Knox, Elaine Baddock, Rochelle Baddock, Jonathan Spitz, Ann Nicholas.
What are these names he's
Pat
reading now?
Wilczek,
What were the people that are sick?
Rians,
And wanted,
Dan and Millie, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Norman Lasco,
So,
Sarah,
themselves, you mean?
Owen, Avner Drucker, Eric Boyd.
Themselves.
And for those who are still in our meeting, if you are able to mute yourself after unmuting.
That's sick.
And we add the names from those who have joined us on Facebook, but I do not see any of those at this moment. If you have entered them, we hold them in our hearts as well.
Source of strength. Bless those in need of healing with refuah, shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen.
Well, Cancer, we have the opportunity tonight to share some birthday blessings.
exciting. It's very exciting because we've just started a new book in the Torah. We started this new year, and for some of you, we are appreciating that you are now growing into another year of life. And so we pray for all of you that this is a good year in which you have soul adventures, a year in which you find yourselves blessed by family, blessed by friends, blessed by finding inner peace. And with that, then, we don't take this moment for granted. We sing the Shehecheyanu, thanking God for helping us to reach this just beautiful time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu azman hazeh. This week, our Torah begins again. Bereshit bara Elohim, in the beginning, or as the beginning began, as God began creating. We hear this beginning. Now, some of you who are familiar with the Torah might ask a question that our sages have asked for millennia, which is, why the Torah begins with the letter Bet? The letter Bet is the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet. So why not begin with Aleph, the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet? That seems like that would make more sense. One midrash teaches that it's because of the shape of the letter Bet. It's a little bit like a backwards C, but with more angular straight lines. And so reading the Torah from right to left, you cannot see behind it. Everything has to flow front. In other words, it blocks us from seeing what came before creation, or at least this version of creation, giving the impression that God created the world ex nihilo from nothing. Yet we hear in its opening verses that something did come before. In fact, the word grace implies that we are entering the Torah amidst the action. We usually translate Bereshit in the beginning, but the Hebrew is more complicated here. We're taken into the action as it's occurring. When God was beginning to create heaven and earth, the earth was unformed and void, with darkness hovering over the surface of the deep, and a wind from God sweeping over the water. In his seminal book, Creation and the Persistence of Evil, John Levinson shows that God battled with evil forces from the depths and prevailed by bringing order to chaos. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Each day, God created another aspect of the universe through order and division, separating light from dark, the waters above from the waters below. Each part of creation was neatly prescribed according to its type, and God deemed that all of it was good. Then on the sixth day, human beings were created. Vivra Elohim et Adam b'tzalmo v'tzelem Elohim bara oto. And God created the human being in God's image. In the image of God, God created the human. Male and female, God created them. On that sixth day, God looked at all that was created, the beauty, the order, the awesome wonder of it all, and deemed it tov ma'od, very good. And it's in that way that the second chapter begins of Bereshit, with the blessed seventh day of Shabbat. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tziva'am. The heaven and the earth were finished in their array. V'yivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yadesh oto.
God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. This is what I love about the Jewish people. We take a description in the Torah and transform it into instruction. We hear the description that we are made in God's image, and we take it as instruction. Act in this world in whose image we are made. The Talmud teaches, just as God is gracious and merciful, so too should you be gracious and merciful. Add to the holiness of this world by word and by deed. We have the description of how God defeated chaos and darkness by creating light. And we take this as an instruction for how we must bring our light to defeat dark forces. We have the description of how God observed the first Shabbat, and we take it as instruction. We, made in the image of God, must ritualize sacred rest. We too must savor the holiness of this world on Shabbat, taking moments to observe what we have created and observe that it is very good. Our rituals on Shabbat remind us of the holiness, the awesome wonder that is this world, even with its flaws. Rituals at their best have the power to remind us of holiness. As Muriel Barbary wrote, ritual takes its place at the heart of our ability to see greatness in small things. Taking the time to savor small things allows us to feel great. They slow down time by slowing ourselves. The world just doesn't go by as quickly. We have time to savor its greatness. She continues, where is beauty to be found? In small things that aspire to nothing, yet know how to set the jewel of infinity in a single moment. Our Shabbat rituals teach us to do something a little different. They teach us of our greatness, our holiness. We, made in the image of God, ponder what it is to create an entire world, to begin again, with our hands ready to create light, with our minds imagining ourselves like God, savoring the very first Shabbat, taking in the world we have created, and partnering with God in redemption. Our rituals on Shabbat recall creation, and our last act of creation before our rest on Shabbat is to bring in light. Our sanctification of Shabbat, the Kiddush, recalls creation and redemption. We are powerful co-creators with the divine, and each Shabbat reminds us of this sacred responsibility. Yet we cannot create in a holy way if we're in constant motion. We need Shabbat to savor, to ready ourselves to begin again. As the great Jewish spiritualists say, don't do something, stand it. Or in the words of the poet, we reach for God from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen. Listen to the rain. Stand still for a brief moment Watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves. For a brief moment, stand in awe of this world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware on Shabbat. And from this stillness, we find sanctuary in which our souls are cherished. And we renew the covenant of an ancient people as we balance our days and weigh our deeds. Let us use this Shabbat and every Shabbat of this new year and beyond to create ourselves anew, defeating the darkness with our light. We, made in the image of God, rest on Shabbat and are refreshed, keeping our hopes alive with our voices high, making sure that we bring our light with a sense of wonder, delight, and peace. Shabbat Shalom.
We must keep our hopes alive. We must raise our voice high. We must hold each other tight. We must stand up in the night and be alive. For the Ruach for Yisrael Simcha. For the Ruach for Yisrael Simcha.
And talk about light. We want to again wish Mazel Tov to the Axelrod family. We can hardly wait until tomorrow to celebrate with your family as Nate becomes a bar mitzvah. We invite you to check out the website at Temple Sholom, sholomchicago.org, to see the upcoming events in this week and beyond. And we then turn to the bottom of page 586 for the words of Aleinu. We rise in spirit.
Aleinu shabeach lanu et hakol, latid gdula liyotzei breshit, shelo achsanu v'kuyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, shelo shamto k'kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol mamonah, v'anachnu kofim, משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר בחיי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
As our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity, we invite you to unmute and share the names of those you're remembering. We also invite you to write those names in the chat.
And we add to the names that are shared in our hearts: Sharon Stein, John M. Griffith, Joseph Dirtina, Gwendolyn Offerdahl, Michael Cooper, and those who we hold in our heart.
We also had to those names, those who recently departed from this earth. Ronald Wolfe, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Seymour Hessler, Elaine Stone Colburn, Al Buddy Dunn, Richard Mandel, Marvin Einhorn, Barbara J. Frankston, Harriet Edmond, Edward Richmond, Socorro Soko Ruiz. We also are remembering someone who will be laid to rest later this next week, a beloved friend named Elise. We also remember those whose yard sites we mark on the Shabbat. Philip Abrams, Audrey Backrack, Lloyd J. Barson, Pearl Burton, Sam Calabro, Carol Ann Clark, Lillian Frankel, Myle Garfin, Roberta Gilman, Shirley Bolian, Anna Golub, Miriam Goodman, Lorraine Gordon, Len Johnson, Kate Kleinman, Thomas Ross Foley, Leah Levy, Lena Marks, Gail Ernst, Leah Mickelson, Mary Poulet, Eva Rokas, Calvin Schneider, Anne Gross Smolin, Ray Stacks, Alexander Schwartzman, Michael Turner, Morris Burson, Kate Gloria Weil, and Dr. David Allen Nicholstein.
As well as Howard Vihon, Sandra Goincher, Judd Weinberg, Florence Teuscher, Calvin Culver, Maxine Fries, Mary Doyle, Tom Camps, Jane Kennedy, Sue and James Bartmus.
We turn to page 598 for Kadishia Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish.
Yikaral Yikadash Shemei Rabban. Yalma Dibrach B'mitei Yamlich Malchutei. L'chaya Chom Yonachon. L'chaya L'chol Leis Yisrael. V'agalav Yisman Karev Yivru. Yehi Shmei Rabban Avarach Le'olam Ulamei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishabach Yitpa'ar V'yiromam V'yitnasei. V'yitadar V'yitaled V'yitalal Shmei Kedusha V'yichlu. Leila Mikol Birchata Shirata. Tushbachata V'nechamata. V'amiran V'yalma V'yimru Amin. Yehi Shlama Rabbi Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'yimru Amin. V'seh Shalom V'yimromach. Uli Aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'yimru Amin.
Aseh Shalom V'yimromach. Aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'yimru Amen.
So I alluded in my Devar Torah this evening that in our Kiddush we make mention of creation and redemption. And so I love that we were able to celebrate creation and Shabbat that comes with savoring creation. But we know that it also builds toward redemption. And so we have a little Ozi V'Zimrat Yah from the Song of the Sea, our redemption song.
Ozi V'Zimrat Yah, V'yeti
647.
Ozi V'Zimrat Yah, V'yeti I
And so on this Shabbat, as we celebrate creation, as we begin again, as we savor the Shabbat, I have to say, Cancer Ben David, I think we share this in common, that one of the things that we savor are extraordinary decisions. When Ethan starts to do a little percussion at the end there, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, get this over here.
When Hannah echoes your voice when we're singing, so that way we can hear that echo and hear our voices in it.
And then if you turn over to the piano over here,
Thank you.
Dave Hollis is sitting stone cold for 3 rows back. That's our crew, folks. We're very blessed.
David helps us with our sound, and all of you help us with our souls. So on this Shabbat, may we find ourselves refreshed, renewed, courageous, bold, and at peace all at once. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom!